and welcome to Horror Cult Trash Over, the show that discusses all the masterpieces and trashterpieces of genre cinema. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
Hey, we're podcasting here.
What is that? Is that your New York accent?
New York. We've been away for a while.
We have.
And we're back now with some surprises for you. Watch this space. But not really. It's Friday the 13th, so you know what it is. It's that time again. We're going back to Crystal Lake, briefly.
Yeah, I was going to say it's our annual trip to Camp Crystal Lake, but it's not. Some years have many Friday the 13th, some years have barely any. I can't remember off the top of my head. I mean, over the last 5 years, we're now on part 8, so...
We're part 8. This could be the year that we conquer it all. Because today, we're not bringing you just one, but we are bringing you 2 Friday the 13th episodes. But before we get into the first one, we've been away for 2 weeks, and I'm sure you're all wondering, what's new with Chris and Gary? But of course, 2 episodes, you're only getting one what's new. And you're getting it in this one. You're welcome. We're doing things a little differently today. So, first up, I'm going to go with the best older first-time watch of the last 2 weeks. And for me, it is Boom.
Oh.
Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton in Boom, a film in which, hilarious to me that it's apparently a horror film. Richard Burton is the Grim Reaper, and Elizabeth Taylor's having a meeting with the Grim Reaper. I mean, it's kind of like Seventh Seal, really. It's camp, and I love it just as much as Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf, but for completely different reasons.
Yeah, Boom was a fantastically camp, over-the-top film. Kind of ridiculous at times, but ever so entertaining. Loved the performances. I love everything that Elizabeth Taylor has and has done. You know, bless her, she's no longer with us. I was going to say, or will do, but she's not doing anything because she's dead.
Still providing us with nice perfume.
She certainly
Beyond
is.
the grave. And
still raising money for her AIDS foundation. Yes. So props to you. But yeah, loved Boom. A real camp classic. That wasn't my choice, actually.
Wow,
surprisingly.
That's a big surprise.
Surprisingly. And
this is just older release.
These are older releases. Okay. These are older releases. So I've technically gone for Crybaby.
Okay.
The John Waters film.
Cheating, but we'll accept it.
Well, it's not cheating. Now, unfortunately, when you watch as many films as me and Gary watch, sometimes we fall asleep.
Yeah.
Through no fault of the director, through no fault of the film stars, but, you know, hard day at work or whatnot. So the first time I watched Crybaby, and this is where technically it's cheating, I did nod off.
Yeah.
And I missed out. So we saw it at the cinema. This was technically my first full watch of Crybaby. Okay. Yes. And of course, I friggin' loved it. I thought it was so entertaining. I love John Waters' sense of humour. He's my favourite director. And I'm glad that I was able to stay fully engaged and awake and watch the film. So yeah, okay, technically, but second would be Boom. Boom is an all-time classic.
Yeah, I mean, I loved Crybaby first time we watched it, and I loved it even more on a rewatch, so it's nice to have it mentioned. Best new release of the last 2 weeks, something we only watched yesterday, and technically it's not a new release, so maybe I'm cheating a little, because it's not actually due out until Friday next week. It's The Motherfucking Substance, a film that you all know how much I loved All of Us Strangers. It's my film of the year. This is my joint first film of the year. This is wild. I can't put into words. It's not often that me and Kristen have a lot to say after watching a film, but I was speechless with what I had witnessed with The Substance. Curly Fogart, you are a genius, an absolute genius, and I loved Revenge. I loved this even more, The Substance. It's Demi Moore being cunty and transforming into Margaret Qualley and also being cunty. It's I don't want to say too much. If you've seen the trailer, you don't know what the film is. They have done a fantastic job of marketing this.
Yes, it's pure horror. Has a lot to say, as all great horror is able to. I found it fascinating. I thought the performances were fantastic, soundtrack fantastic, cinematography fantastic. It was really a wonderful 2.5 hour roller coaster ride. I know it sounds wanky, and Martin Scorsese will tell me off for it, but I'm not talking about Marvel. I'm talking about Demi Moore.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's totally my favorite film of the year so far, and that might change. I don't know. But as we sit here, I'm still digesting it.
Yeah.
I'm still figuring out what it was trying to tell me. I'm still figuring out how I can see these things. And there are some relatable moments, surprisingly, within the film. But yeah, I highly, highly recommend to anyone who enjoys horror, anyone who enjoys, and I say this a lot, but it's true, anyone who enjoys the kind of films that we enjoy. If you've listened to us a few times and you thought these guys have got taste, please do yourself a favor and watch The Substance. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the good also comes the bad. We'll be getting to the ugly when we talk about today's podcast film. But for the bad, the worst of the last 2 weeks across new releases and old releases, sadly, it's also Elizabeth Taylor. There's one born every minute.
Yeah. It's technically it's my worst of the last 2 weeks because we've watched some fucking fantastic films, and we are at a point where we are sort of curating a wonderful watch list for ourselves, and it's the only dud in the pack, really. Because it was so dull, and it was a completely nothing film.
It was just really misogynistic, and I know like different time, blah blah blah, whatever. But this was like jarringly misogynistic.
Oh, it ends on a woman getting spanked for being and not in a Jack Nance kind of way, but spanked because she was going against her husband or something. I'd actually kind of switched off by that point. This was Elizabeth Taylor's very first film, so we're going through a whole filmography. The quality was very bad. It was very hard to get hold of. Don't go out of your way to do so.
Watch the clip on YouTube of her singing a little song, and then that's it.
She was 10 years old.
That's all you need.
She was 10 years old, so her role was nothing, really. She's not credited on the poster or anything like that, because she was just a child star that had to sing a song. Complete waste of time. Don't do it to yourselves.
And for honourable mentions, I've only included films I've given 5 stars to over the last 2 weeks, because we'd be here all day if I didn't.
All right.
So I'm going with The Fourth Man, which is Paul Verhoeven being Paul Verhoeven with extra Willy.
Yeah. Yes. You say that there's quite a bit of Willy in his films.
True. But this is a lot, and it's really gay and progressively gay for the 80s. Really top tier erotic thriller.
Yeah, fantastic film.
Dementia, which is classic horror cinema at its finest. Just an hour of weird shit in black and white, and that's all I can ask for sometimes.
Yeah, really out there, but yeah, great film.
Yeah, The Bad Seed. We get we got to see the influence behind some of John Waters' films with Boom and with this.
Yeah, The Bad Seed was very close to being my pick of the month. Really enjoyed The Bad Seed. Great campy melodrama with a bit of horror and some absolutely spot on perfect performances.
Yes.
Really a fantastically acted film.
Yeah. Sing Sing, speaking of fantastic acting, Carmen Domingo delivers my favourite performance of the year in this film. This really lovely, wonderful, touching film that is a must watch.
Yeah, highly recommend Sing Sing.
Of course, cinemas in the UK are doing extremely limited releases of it, but you know,
Common Domingo.
Yeah, if you really spot a screening, go out of your way to see it. It'll be worth it. Shockingly enough, we actually watched The Sixth Sense for the first time after years of thinking it wasn't worth it because we knew the twist, but it was worth it. It was really worth it. Again, speaking of some of the best performances of all time,
we can finally say horror cult trasher now.
Yes. And finally, for me, another fantastic horror film / crime thriller / drama / does for going on the internet what Jaws did for water. It's Red Rooms.
Red Rooms, yes. The remake of fear.com that never was.
Exactly.
That I was expecting, but it was so much more than that.
Yeah, really fantastic film. Again, if you can find a screening, go to it. It'll be worth it. Right.
Oh, what about my 5-star?
Do you have any more?
I certainly have. I watched Batman Mask of the Phantasm for the very first time, and I thought it was fantastic. I keep saying fantastic.
Yeah.
I need
good, it's positive.
Yeah, I need a thesaurus.
It's the only bit of positivity we're going to have for the next hour or so.
Absolutely. But yeah, really enjoyed it. We're making our way through the animated series, and I love it. I love the neo-noir of it. I love the look, the voice acting. I love the choice of villains. And with Mask of the Phantasm, seeing that on the big screen as well, and feature length, just as good.
Yeah, childhood favourite.
Not for me. I watched it for the first time.
Yeah.
At my age, then I'm not going to tell anyone.
Well, a spoiler warning is now officially in effect. We have got past the most positive part of this episode, and now we're here to talk to you about a film that includes characters asking the question, "Where's Rennie?" more times than me when I'm having a bad week of heartburn. That's right. Hey. It's Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan from 1989. The one we've been dreading getting to for 5 years of discussing these fucking films. And here we are. I've watched this film 3 times within the past year. I don't know what I'm doing with my life, but there we go.
I'm gonna say it now.
Every time was against my choice, by
Absolutely.
the way.
I'm gonna say it now. This is probably within my, I'd say bottom 10 worst films of all time.
Yeah.
I hate this film with a vengeance. I really detest this film, and I am so sick of fucking watching this film. And I hope that this is the last time I ever have to talk about this film or watch it.
Here's the thing. I do think there's a lot of so bad it's good stuff in here. Now, the last 2 times we watched this, we watched it with friends, and both of those times, those are the most I've ever enjoyed this film. Having people to laugh at the film with, and obviously, the 2 of us watched it together a few times and we laughed about it. But then I think, it gets to a point that once you've watched it with the same people, and when you watch it with new people for the first time, that's when it's fun.
Yeah.
When you watch it over and over again, like, I'm a completionist. I love doing Friday the 13th Marathon. It's one of my favourite franchises. The other films are so much fun. Next week's film, everyone hates it. I think is a lot of fun. I think there's something to enjoy in all of these films, and I think there are things to laugh at here. But I honestly watched this film so many times that I was shocked at how much I could quote off by heart, and I think that's a serious issue, and I really need to look into that. It's written and directed by Rob Hedden, who did What is Brazil? 2 episodes of the Friday the 13th TV series, which I believe was before this, and they were so impressed that they brought him on board to do this. I can imagine their disappointment. Kidnapped in Paradise, Any Place But Home, Alien Fury, Countdown to Invasion, You May Not Kiss the Bride, Box Borders, and more.
Oh, You May Not Kiss the Bride.
He seems like a lovely guy. Rob Hedden seems like a really nice guy. Obviously, he's had negative feedback from fans over the years, and as the film wasn't exactly what he wanted it to be, and he's repeatedly apologized to fans who were disappointed by the film. He does so on the audio commentary where he disowned it.
I accept your apology, Rob.
The next film's produced by a different studio. On my research says they conveniently ignore the events of this film, but to be honest, I don't really take that. I feel like this franchise is actually the best with continuity, because when you look at it, really, there's nothing saying that this didn't all happen when we get to Jason Goes to Hell. And then Jason X is set so far in the future that of course it's canon, because who knows what happens between now and then. Freddy vs. Jason, the end of Jason Goes to Hell, it goes straight from that. I honestly think, and where Jason's left in this film at the beginning, I think they're good at setting things up, going from one to the other. Sure, there's not any major connections. The only real connections you get are the Tommy Jarvis, the Tommy Jarvis trilogy, where we have the same character throughout those 3 films. But other than that, the only regular in these films, the only regular callback is the events that happen with Pamela Voorhees, killing the counselors, getting her head chopped off, and Jason coming back for revenge. Now, this film does really add some questionable lore, especially when it comes to the timeline and when this is supposed to take place. Because again, it sets it up straight from the end of The New Blood, but there are some things like the age of the lead character. It's a little Texas Chainsaw 3D where it's like, why are you not 50 right now? Like, what is going on? What is this? But obviously we'll get into that.
I think with Friday the 13th as a series, because I think it keeps it more continuous geographically.
Yeah.
I think they lead on to one another quite well because they all happen around the same lake. And it's quite consistent until this one, which takes it, as you well know, no spoilers here, briefly to Manhattan.
Yeah.
But it takes it away. And then, I mean, Jason Goes to Hell in the next one. So that's really far away. And then Jason X is very far away because it's in space. But all the films up until this point have happened around Camp Crystal Lake or the surrounding area. Whereas I find, obviously, with other franchises, they kind of do the same. I mean, Halloween's always in Haddonfield.
Okay. Halloween is not the best example. Honey.
No.
Try Nightmare on Elm Street. Halloween has 50 fucking timelines.
No, but I mean geographically.
Geographically, yeah, no.
But I think a lot of them geographically.
Yeah, but geographically,
like Hellraiser's here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah, geographically with Friday the 13th, the most aesthetically pleasing thing about this franchise is that Jason's always where they left him.
Yeah.
But it's from the events of that film. Obviously, Michael Myers is fucking here, there, and everywhere, out of Haddonfield, in Haddonfield, like down the road, round the corner.
Yeah, well, I mean, Freddy Krueger's in people's dreams, so he kind of go anywhere he wants.
I'd say continuity. I'd say Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream are both spot on with those things, and it's no, coincidence that they're my favorite franchises. But I mean, they could have, once they sort this fucking rights bullshit out, they could have a lot of fun with filling in the blanks. Like Saw X did between 1 and 2.
Yeah.
They could do a lot of that in this franchise. Like, Jason getting from New York back to Crystal Lake for Jason Goes to Hell. They could actually give us a film where Jason's in New York for, like, the entire fucking film. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
No, just leave this one dead and buried. It's fine. We don't need to go back to any of this.
The person in charge of the rights is based on characters created by Victor Miller. Him and Sean Cunningham. They really need to get their shit together.
They do.
Budget $5 million, and the lowest grossing film in the franchise, $14.3 million, which is really shocking considering it was released in 1989, which marked the second and, as of 2024, the second and last year in a row where entries from the 3 biggest slasher series of the decade, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Halloween, were all released in the same year. This year we had Jason Takes Manhattan, and Nightmare on Elm Street, The Dream Child, and Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. 3 of the worst films from both franchises.
Yeah, 1989 was not a good year.
No.
For horror franchises.
Obviously the first one was 1988, which we mentioned last time, which was The New Blood, Dream Master, and Return of Michael Myers. What a fun year. Could you imagine going from that to this?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking, were there any good horror films in 1989?
Yeah, Society.
I mean,
Tetsuo.
American, yeah. Sleepaway Camp 3.
Society's American.
Silent Night, Deadly Night 3. House 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about rating from highest
Wicked.
Rating? Hey, My Mum's a Werewolf. Cinematic classic.
Is she? Well, my average rating. Oh, well, no. Average rating in general, should we have?
Santa Sangre.
Santa Sangre. So, yeah. But looking from American viewpoint, Society is the highest rated.
And it probably is the best. Hang on. Wait.
The Burbs. You got the Burbs.
Dr. Caligari wasn't American, was it?
It wasn't. No. You had to go elsewhere to get some good horror in 1989.
Well, after this film's disappointing results at the box office, Paramount decided to sell the rights to Jason Voorhees' character, not the Friday the 13th film series, though, to New Line Cinema. So that's why whenever you get a box set release in the UK, it's always 1 to 8. I don't know what loophole they're in America where they can release all of them, but in the UK, you're only getting 1 to 8. Thank God for region-free Blu-ray players. This makes Jason Takes Manhattan the last feature produced by Paramount until the 2009 remake, Friday the 13th, 2009, which was possibly because they still had the rights to the first 8 films.
Okay.
New Line released only 3 other sequels, Jason Goes to Hell, Jason X, and Freddy vs. Jason in between. And as we know, the best thing about this film, the original poster for the film features Jason ripping through an I Love NY poster. In the first poster, Jason's holding a bloody knife, which was cleaned in the second poster for fear that blood was too graphic. Both posters were dropped following a complaint from the New York Tourism Committee. They should probably look at the film and then maybe drop that as well, because this does not depict New York in a very nice way.
It doesn't. It doesn't at all. I think Friday the 13th as a franchise. So these first 8 films from 1980 to 1989.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else was 1980 to 1989? Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
I think it has something to say, and I don't think it's trying to, but I think it has something to say about the Reagan era.
Yeah.
About Reaganism, and, you know, we get to this point where Jason takes Manhattan, you know, Manhattan, New York, the yuppies, all of that business. Yeah. And it's a shithole.
Yeah.
And it's horrible.
Yeah.
And maybe he's trying to say something.
Maybe.
And maybe I'm talking...
maybe you're giving it too much credit.
But I think maybe Friday the 13th could be a look at, you know, Reagan politics during the 80s. I mean, he was... I'm correct, aren't I? Yes,
I'm sure he was.
Yeah, and then it was Bush. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with this era also comes a lot of cuts, and yet again, it's another film where the deaths were really toned down.
Absolutely.
Because of the MPAA.
Absolutely.
Not quite as bad as the last one, but still.
No, but
really...
you know, look at the Reagan era.
Yeah.
Oh, I might write an essay.
Wow. You've seen it enough times, you probably could.
I probably could.
Should we,
Reaganism in Jason Takes Manhattan.
Should we talk about who's in it?
Yes, in a section we like to call, Hey, I Know You?
Well, we know Kane Hodder's Jason. Look, we've done this before. Let's get through it. Monster, Daredevil, The Devil's Rejects, Hatchet 1 to 4, Frozen, Behind the Mask, Rise of Leslie Vernon, Wishmaster, House 2 and 4, and more. You're not getting another one for the next episode for him. We've done it so many fucking times.
Yes.
In promotion for this film, Kane Hodder appeared as Jason on the Arsenio Hall show. He completed the entire interview without speaking and remained in character.
There we go.
Fun. Love that sort of marketing.
I love cheesy marketing.
Yeah.
For 80s films. I like.
It's coming back, really.
Yeah. I mean,
it's great to see.
I mean, at the end of the day, horror films can be fun.
Yeah.
And they can be campy and silly, and you know, do that surrounding it, that sort of thing where you not talking during an interview on prime. I'm assuming primetime TV.
Yeah,
I like that. It's fun.
Jensen Daggett plays Rennie Wickham. She was in Major League, Back to the Minors, The Single Guy, Home Improvement, Asteroid, Project Alf, The Opposite Sex and How to Live with Them, Spies, and more. They fully intended for Rennie, their virtuous good girl, to have a nude scene, thus rebunking slasher norms in which only the sexually active girls show some skin. They simply forgot to cast an actress who would agree to do it. The director reportedly, as much as I said he was a nice guy before, not so nice in this situation, reportedly worked on wearing her down, pointing to examples of notable actresses who had done nudity without causing damage to their careers. First, he asked her to go nude. She declined. Then, maybe just topless. Again, she declined. Finally, he requested that she at least take her blouse off. She still declined. Do you know what? Shouldn't have asked after the first time.
Absolutely. A sign of the times. If you can't get the violence in, get the sex in.
Yeah.
It's the target audience. Yeah, it's a real shame. It's a real shame, but a tale as old as time.
Yeah,
it really is. And these actresses that did go because, as we say every time, we are fully behind anyone who wants to do nudity in a film if they feel comfortable with it. We do not shame at all. Yeah. But a lot of those nude scenes from these actresses, and it didn't affect their career, would have been in more prestigious films. Glenda Jackson winning an Oscar for the Ken Russell film that I'm forgetting the name of.
But it's like nothing else is done to move her away from the usual final girl tropes. So why include the nudity? If you're gonna make no effort for anything else with this character to move her away from those tropes, then what the fuck difference is the nudity gonna make?
But then I'm assuming what they're trying to say is good girls can still have sex.
That's great, but also she's a really fucking boring character. Maybe put a little more effort into making her a little more exciting.
Yeah. They're saying good girls can have sex as a way of saying we want to see your boobs on screen, and we don't want to force another, scene in.
Yeah.
To have somebody else do it. We might as well pay you.
Yeah.
Less, and just get you to do it.
Dee Dee Pfeiffer, Pamela Anderson, and Elizabeth Berkley were all auditioned for this role.
Ooh.
Elizabeth Berkley would have really worked.
Elizabeth Berkley, this was the year that Saved by the Bell started.
Was it?
She would have been, yeah.
Oh, wow.
She would have been, if I remember the series, she was quite young.
Yeah, so definitely no nudity from that character.
Yeah, but I think maybe too young as a graduate, because they didn't graduate in obviously, age of actresses and actors is up in the air half the time.
Scott Reeves plays Sean Robertson. He is in the Nashville TV show Someone Like You, Ride, The King of Queens, Sons No. 2, The Grave, The Man from Nowhere, Dolly Parton's Heartstrings, and more. Now, according to the documentary, Crystal Lake Memories, which we recommend every time we do one of these episodes, Lee Coleman was the original actor playing Sean Robertson. A couple of weeks later, after filming had started, he was let go because, according to the producers, he came off as gay.
Oh.
And had no romantic chemistry with the female lead, Rennie. So instead, they replaced him, reshot all the scenes with Scott Reeves, who has no romantic chemistry with the female lead, Rennie.
No.
I mean, they're both just as dull. Maybe they find some sort of romance with him being dull.
Was the original actor actually gay?
I don't know.
Or just came across as...
But he came across as gay, so they got rid of him. the lovely 80s, 1989.
I mean, it would have made the film a little more interesting.
It would have. It would have. And we've seen we can have gay characters play straight in Friday the 13th, and it works in multiple films.
Yeah, that's true. Which one was the gay one?
And the last one.
Was it?
He was, and then part 2.
Yeah.
Oh, the actual gay one? Yeah. That's the next film we're talking about.
Oh, no. No, they called it the gay Friday the 13th because so many actors came out.
The last one.
It was the last one, of course it was, yes.
But the next one we're talking about is the homoerotic one. Yes. Made by a gay director, I believe, as well. Peter Mark Richmond plays Charles McCullough. He was in Agent for Harm, Defenders of the Earth, Dynasty, Batman the Animated Series, Twilight Zone, Murder, She Wrote, Mysteria, and more.
Yeah, so a actual trained lesbian. He was in, like Gary said, some well-known films with Sophia Loren and
TV
Marlon
shows.
Brando and TV shows and all that business. So, I mean, it's easy to say that this is him, desperately trying to get some money by taking a lesser role. But, this is what he's most known for now. This is...
Yeah, I mean, he probably gives the best performance of the film because his character is like the most unlikable character in his franchise, and he's meant to be unlikable, and he does a pretty good job of doing that.
His character literally gets the most development.
Yeah,
like,
it's true.
Genuinely gets the most character development in... He is a fully formed character. We're meant to feel a certain way about him, either good or bad.
Yeah. V.C. Dupree plays Julius Gore. He was in South Central, Eastwick, Martial Law, The Once and Future Smash, Knight Rider, Reckless Kelly, Driving Me Crazy, Monday Morning, China Beach, and more. And he's fortunate enough to get one of the most iconic scenes in the entire franchise.
Absolutely, yes. The only thing that really sticks out in this film. So looky him.
And Kelly Hu plays Eva Watanabe. She was in Scorpion King, X-Men 2, The Tournament, Strange Days, Growing Pains, The Doors, Joe Baby, Batman Soul of the Dragon, Death Valley, Alien Extinction, High School Possession, and more.
She's probably had the most successful career after the film.
Yeah. I'd say so.
Particularly with X-Men 2, which is probably what we most know her for, other than Jason Takes Manhattan, mainly as a voice actress, but has gone on and has had a continued career, which a lot of slasher actors and actresses don't necessarily have.
No, good for her.
So, yeah, good for her.
And Lara Park Lincoln originally wanted to sign on to reprise her role as Tina Shepherd in this film.
Which would have made sense.
But she wanted a higher salary
no.
than what she was paid in The New Blood. A woman wanting what she deserves. Can you imagine that?
Oh, dear.
Paramount told her that their budget could not afford to pay her any more than what she bargained for, and because of this, she turned down the project. First, Paramount decided to rewrite the entire script for the film to take the film in a whole...
nothing, clearly.
Yeah. Take the film in a whole new direction, which later completely excluded the character of Tina, and they just didn't want anyone from Part 7 to return.
So, paying her more, and I would assume it wouldn't be a huge amount more. It wouldn't be like double, triple, quadruple. But paying her more to return, which is reasonable.
Yeah.
She did a good job in Part 7.
It made money.
She was the lead and the final girl. Yeah. And they've written a script for it. Apparently, that paying her is more expensive than getting the rights to film, yes, only for a short period, but to film in Times fucking Square.
Yeah. Yeah. And to get an entire script rewrite.
Yeah, fuck
to
off.
Scrap a script completely.
Yeah, bullshit. You just don't want to pay her.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just want to keep the money for yourselves, dickheads.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Paramount, they've got a history for it. Nev Campbell.
Yeah.
Nev Campbell, who didn't return for a sequel set in New York because they didn't want to pay her enough. Yes. Come on. But thankfully, they've paid her enough now. But that conversation is for a whole other day.
Absolutely. Let's draw a line there.
And let's not go any further into that. Yeah. But I'll tell you what we should do. Let's talk about our feature presentation.
The city. Give me a mic. That has seen it all. Ain't seen nothing yet. Now, Jason's gone uptown.
There is a maniac trying to kill us. Welcome to New York.
Friday the 13th, Part 8. Jason Takes Manhattan. Rated R. Starts Friday, July 28th at theaters everywhere.
So we start with narration. It says, it's like this. But it's not really narration, it's on a radio show. We live in claustrophobia, a land of steel and concrete, trapped by dark waters.
Oh, no.
There is no escape, nor do we want it. We've come to thrive on it and each other. You can't get the adrenaline pumping without terror, good people. I love this town. And then we get top tier banger, Darkest Side of the Night by Metropolis, whilst we get a journey through the gritty sides of New York. And honestly, what a promising introduction.
It starts off pretty well.
So 80s.
I like this song, very 80s. Again, you know,
this isn't Carrie Bradshaw's New York.
Yeah, this isn't Carrie Bradshaw's New York. This is Driller Killer
Lucio Fulci's New York.
Lucio Fulci's New York. This is New York is the worst place.
Yeah. Escape from New York, but apparently in the present.
Yeah. Which is a great start. Which is great. I'm like, oh my god, it's New York. And I'm sure somebody who actually lives in New York would not recognize any of these places. No. But to the untrained UK audience, we're like, oh, okay, this is the film version of New York that I recognize, because I've probably watched enough New York-based films that were not filmed in New York to recognize this as fake New York.
Yeah. I mean, there's a good reason anyone who lives there wouldn't recognize it. That's because most of it was filmed in fucking Vancouver. Rob Hedden originally wrote more of the film to be set in New York. He had written scenes at Madison Square Garden, the Brooklyn Bridge, the Statue of Liberty, the Empire State Building. But despite the fact that the film had the highest budget of a Friday the 13th film at that time, which in 1989 was $5 million, Paramount told him that there wasn't enough money to film so many scenes there, so he was forced to rewrite the film and spend more time on the cruise ship. Another fucking rewrite for Paramount.
Yeah. And yet La Park Lincoln could not get her pay rise.
No. Hedden says he agrees with fans who complain that not enough time in the film is spent in New York given the title. So yes, New York, introduction. Don't get used to it. That's the last time you're going to see it for quite a while.
Yeah, absolutely. It's false advertising. It's blatant false advertising. Jason Takes Manhattan. It'd be like Made in Manhattan, and Jennifer Lopez is on a boat for half of it.
Yeah,
I mean 3/4 of it.
Yeah, but again,
it makes no sense.
Going back to the comparisons between this and Scream 6, every single second of Scream 6 is in New York.
Yeah, of course,
because they promise fans that.
But Scream 6 isn't Scream 6. Ghostface Takes Manhattan.
No, but it was the marketing though.
Yeah, but it was everything. If you're gonna have Manhattan in your title, it better be in fucking Manhattan.
Absolutely.
Unless they're talking about the cocktail.
It'd be like having the Sex and the City film just set in fucking Dubai, you know? Oh wait.
Abu Dhabi.
See, I'm already forgetting it. Thank God. We get a journey through this gritty side of New York, which is followed by a houseboat on Crystal Lake. 50-year-old teenager, Jim Miller, and his girlfriend Susie, who definitely took one too many acting classes, are listening to banger Darkest Side of the Night on the radio, and the DJ comes back and he's like, you've been listening to WGAZ, the electricity of Manhattan. This request has gone out to Crystal Lake and the senior class of Lakeview High. And Susie's like, that's us. And the boyfriend's like, oh, right.
Nice one. Radical.
And say they'll be graduating on the 13th of this month.
Oh, is that Friday?
It's today, and if you're listening. And we wish them the best of luck and success when they come to visit our seductive city. It's like, okay, you're not Tara Reid, calm down. Our law is great one, my friends. But beware, the city of light casts many shadows indeed. It's not a great advertisement on the radio for New York, is it? I mean, I would turn around like, okay, fuck that, I'm not going there.
Yeah, this is certainly not made by the New York Tourist Board.
It's definitely not, no. Jim and Susie confess their love for each other as they undress, and
that's nice.
But they're interrupted. Jim's like, "Gotta throw the anchor over."
Yeah.
Jim doesn't mean he needs a shit. He literally throws the anchor over from the boat and then proceeds to tell Susie about the legend of Jason Voorhees before playing a prank on her with a hockey mask similar to Jason's old mask and a prop knife, which leads to a very melodramatic reaction. Apparently, this is the perfect way to turn a girl on because they then start having sex.
Yeah. Yes. Her underwear confuses me a little bit.
Yeah,
because it's a bit like a jock strap. I've never seen women wear underwear with like the little side bit. Yeah, but I mean, looks nice.
80s.
Beautiful woman.
What chest size are his jeans? Because they were up to those fucking nipples.
They were.
Jesus.
They certainly were. These are the first two wet perms of the film.
Yeah.
What I remember distinctly about Jason Takes Manhattan, probably more than anything else, is the film with the most curly hair.
It's true. Yeah.
Like, really,
there's definitely
so many wet perms.
There's a discount on perms.
There was. There really
then.
was. It's nice. It's a nice look for the majority of people. I couldn't pull it off, but
yeah,
you know, it's nice. It's just a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go ahead.
I have nothing further to say.
Well, first of the continuity issues. According to the opening flashback from Jim, he mentions Jason drowned about 30 years ago, which the original film already established that he drowned in 1957. Doing the math, that would mean this film takes place in 1988. But when they're in Times Square, there's an advert for 1989's Michael Keaton Batman film.
Oh.
So we're kind of, saying that this takes place in 1989. But then also you get the time jump with Tommy Jarvis, which they're definitely not taking into account here.
No.
And then also the fact that massive plot point of this film is Jason being a child still in that lake, and the lead character of this film being a child in that lake. So that means that scene where she's pushed into that water later on, spoiler alert, is in 1957. So you're telling me that the lead in this teen slasher film, who's graduated from college, is in her 30s? Potentially 40s.
I mean, that's a difficult one because it's the same way that oh my god, Alice was dragged into the water by child Jason.
Yeah.
And then that's continuity wise, not.
But that's how she saw
possible.
Him.
Yeah.
I think that's how we established that. Go back and listen to the episode, but I'm sure that's how we established it, was that the fact that she saw him as a child because that's all she heard about. Was that this child drowned in the lake.
Yeah.
So he was actually older by that point. Which I'm going to choose to go with because that would make the most sense.
Yeah.
Whether it was the intention at the time or not, whether they knew they were going to get sequels is a different thing. Yeah. But this film is... He didn't watch anything.
No,
other than 1 and 7.
Yeah, yeah. The film has this obsession with Jason as a child.
Yeah,
and child psychology or whatever. You know, and rather than Jason himself, it's the inner child of Jason, and so it gets messy because of that.
Yeah, Well, the boat's anchor damages some underwater cables that shock Jason's corpse, who was seemingly killed in the previous film, and revives him. He's brought back to life through electricity once again, after he was killed by an abusive alcoholic father in the previous film.
Yeah, who isn't down there?
He isn't down there anymore. Where's he gone?
Where's that abusive father?
He probably swam back to shore. Lived a happy life. Jason sneaks on board. He takes the mask and he kills Jim with a harpoon gun before impaling Susie after approaching her for a very, very, very long time, taking plenty of time to let her escape, which she doesn't take. She just sits there, screams at him, is like, no, no, no. And that's it.
It's almost a parody.
Yeah.
It feels like something from one of the Scary Movie films. Don't kill me, killer.
Yeah.
You know, it's stupid.
Yeah. The next morning, the SS Lazarus is ready to set sail for New York with a graduating senior class from Lakeview High School, chaperoned by biology teacher Dr. Charles McCulloch and English teacher Colleen Van Dusen. Many of the actors pointed out a big plot hole in this film. Another one.
Yeah.
And this is the actors. These are the people on board.
Yeah.
They wondered how that ship got out of Crystal Lake, the one that comes back with the dead Jim and Susie in it, comes back from Crystal Lake and into the Atlantic Ocean.
Yes.
About how this sails off into the Atlantic Ocean. Since most of them were just happy to be in a film, they didn't bring it up to the producers or director. Actor Vincent Craig Dupree was quoted in an interview about the plot hole saying, this damn boat could have come from the Sahara Desert and gotten into the Atlantic. I don't care. I'm not going to challenge the concept.
As an audience member, I am going to challenge that.
Yeah. Jason Voorhees' swimming skills, fucking great.
Yeah.
How's he getting from one to the other? Like,
it's incredible.
This ship, how did we get there? How did we get to this point? It's the next day. Jason must have been swimming all fucking night.
Yeah, but my question is, no, does it not set sail from Crystal Lake? This is the issue.
Okay, yeah.
You're talking about when he swims from Crystal Lake, from where they are to New York so quickly. Yeah. What we're questioning here is how Crystal Lake, a lake,
goes onto the Atlantic,
the Atlantic Ocean, and that makes no sense.
Fucking ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
It's a lake.
Yeah.
You've been silly.
I mean, did he not think did he not think the writer, did not think, well, maybe we should have it go from somewhere else?
It's laziness. It's laziness. It's a lazy way of getting from point A to point B. They turned around and said that you can't film in New York as much as you want to. So we're going to have to scrap half of your screenplay. Okay? So he's had to, and, you know, I'm not dissing the guy, but in a very lazy way, get from Crystal Lake to New York in a way that allows a long period of time. So that's a boat.
Yeah.
Now, it could have been a train, but we've seen Terror Train, you know, and it worked in that film. Maybe it should have been Jason on a train.
Yeah.
But
Jason on a plane.
he chose a boat. And he thought that, well, the audience wouldn't care. This is just a throwaway slasher film. And to a certain degree, yes. But it takes you out of it.
Yeah.
Sitting there and being like, what the fuck? How is this, you know, how is this leading on? It's like, and this is a spoiler alert for I Still Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
It's the fact that I spent the whole of I Still Know What You Did Last Summer knowing that they got the question wrong. It takes me out. It takes me out. It's not a surprise in I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. In this film, it's the, how is this, why is he on a boat? Why is he on this bit? And it's a big fucking boat.
Yeah. But then what's even worse is the fact that we get a shot of everyone having a nice time dancing in the disco, playing some sports on the ship, having a great time.
Yeah.
The ship is full of extras, full of people.
Yeah.
They disappear.
This
is the last you see of them.
Yeah.
What is this?
Just have a smaller boat. Just have a small... I'll just do it on a fucking train. Just give us Terror Train.
Yeah.
Just do that with Jason.
Do it on a fucking plane.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is New Jersey, so it's fairly close to New York.
Mm-hmm.
If the Real Housewives is anything to go by. So I think it's doable. I don't know. I'm not that...
It's not doable to get from the lake to an ocean.
But I mean, on a train.
On a train,
it's doable. Yeah.
Colleen brings McCulloch's niece, Rennie, along for the trip, despite her aquaphobia, much to his annoyance. Colleen arrives with Rennie and her dog, Toby.
Yeah.
Special good boy, this Toby. He can have flashbacks, apparently. Who is nervous, and also he's nervous about the trip.
Bless him.
Colleen, in a bizarre series of events, she gives Rennie, who is the best and most gifted student she's ever had, allegedly, a wonderful graduation gift. It's a pen in a fancy blue box, and she says, Stephen King supposedly used it in high school. Rennie says, what we're all saying, I don't know what to say. What the fuck? Like,
yeah.
What?
In the grand tradition of English teachers, Colleen Van Dusen is forming a friendship with her most troubled student.
Yeah, Stephen King did a line of coke off this pen.
And decides to give her this gift. It doesn't come with a certificate of authentication.
No, and it's like, supposedly it was used by Stephen King.
I mean, I didn't see the eBay listing.
Allegedly. There's no picture of him holding it, is there?
No, but if she may have got it from Etsy or eBay or wherever, but there's no certificate of authentication.
One of my favourite things in this film. It's one of my absolute favourite things in this film. It is so stupid, so random, but so camp. Like, here's Stephen King's alleged pen.
I just don't understand how we're meant to react as an audience. Like, oh, that's cool. Like, if it was a signed copy of one of his books, like, if you want to get a Stephen King, like, oh, I'm mentioning Stephen King. I'm a real horror fan. Do you know what? All the horror fans in the audience, they're going to love a Stephen King reference. Rennie is also rocking the wet curl. Actually, both of them, Colleen and Rennie, they're rocking the wet curls. Yeah. Rennie has a vest on that kind of looks like a tapestry design. Mm-hmm. Very 1989.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah. And sure, she did her absolute best, the actress, but this performance has no life in it whatsoever. And the character is so dull.
So dull. Do you know who she reminds me of?
Who?
April O'Neil in the first, well, both actually, but the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle film.
Yeah, except she can act.
Yeah, of course. But they look very similar.
Yeah.
Kind of similar.
They do.
I feel like the outfits. Points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, McCulloch is fuming that Colleen was late and decided to bring Rennie along. He's also annoyed that Jim and Susie didn't show up, so Colleen tries to comfort him and says, don't be worried, they probably decided to explore each other rather than New York.
Oh, those English teachers. It's always the English teacher, isn't it?
It is. Elsewhere on the boat, speaking of dual characters, Captain Robertson decides to leave the honour of the departure protocol to his son Sean Robertson, who completely embarrasses him, completely shows him up when he forgets general knowledge to send out the international maritime signal, followed by a security broadcast warning other ships that they are underway.
I mean,
oh my god, how does he not know that?
I
Fucking
did mine
idiot!
This morning, I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know
what
how
a
he can
moron!
forget.
He embarrasses his dad. He just wants to live up to his dad's shadow. He embarrasses him, and he storms off in a sulk and is given a warning by the deckhand that the voyage is doomed, and he is this film's Crazy Ralph.
Yes. I don't mind it. We need one, don't we?
Yeah. What, a useless son with no personality?
Oh, well, I mean, it's all cliche. Everything's cliche.
Yeah.
But the whole, oh, Dad, you want me to be just like you? I can't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Boring.
Meanwhile, Jason's been having a swim around and sneaks on board.
This very, very large man.
Yes.
Just sneaks on board.
Sean is happy to find out that Rennie's on board and hopes that their lack of charisma and personality will bring them together. He starts his charms by giving her a Statue of Liberty necklace. How original.
Yeah, I did see, and the goofs on IMDb for this film are a great read.
Yeah.
But one of them said that if he's surprised to see her on the boat, but still had a gift for her. And the gift is very specific to the fact that they're going to New York.
It's true.
So if he had that gift, yeah. No, okay. Let me dissect this for us. Number one, if you're going to give a New York-based gift to someone who's about to go to New York or is traveling with you to New York. No, let me try that again. This film is in my brain. If you don't think that somebody is going to be able to go to New York, so you want to give them a souvenir.
Yeah.
Number one, you buy that from New York.
Yeah.
But he hasn't. He's bought it from New Jersey. Because that's where they are. Number two, if somebody isn't allowed to go to New York, but wants to, clearly, don't give them a New York-based gift.
Do you know what I think?
They'll just be rubbing it in.
I reckon he brought it for himself. Then was like, oh shit, I need something to give her.
Why are you buying the Statue of Liberty necklace
so you can wear it
going to the Statue of Liberty?
Yeah.
Yeah, my brain is frazzled at the thought of it.
We get Joan Jett wannabe JJ Jarrett. Subtle. She's on board.
She is.
She's there to film music videos with video student Wayne Weber. And she's introduced playing guitar on top of the boat. She's like, is this axe awesome or what? She wants to go to the control room because she hears it has supreme concert hall echo, which actually shouldn't really fucking matter because it's a fucking music video, so you're not going to be playing fucking live. You're going to be lip syncing.
I like when she says she goes to obviously is he in love? He's not in love with her, but she's in love with him.
And they're good friends. They're good friends.
They're good friends. She goes, if you want to know what I think I am, I think that I'm just a rock chick and I like to rock out. I like to throw shit around. I like to go nuts. I like to lose myself on stage. I like to scream. I like to holler. I like to break things. I like to yell. I like to get my anger out. And you know what? Everyone has their own opinion on it. Everybody.
Okay, and this is really awkward. That's not Jason Takes Manhattan.
Who's that?
That's a quote from an interview with Avril Lavigne.
Oh, shit. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, I thought that was this film. Oh.
It was Jason Takes Manhattan and Avril Lavigne. She was so inspired by this film and this character that she quoted every word in the interview.
I thought Avril Lavigne was in this film. Rock out. I was going to try and do the accent, but I didn't want to embarrass myself.
But as a musician, this is really triggering. Like, you don't need sound for a music video.
You don't.
Like, what are you doing? Like, seriously, director, I know you were rushed. I know this is your, like, 5,000th rewrite of this film. But come on. So dumb. It's so dumb. Like, how's anyone going to take this seriously? But anyways, it doesn't matter because Jason wants to be in the video, so he takes a cunty pink guitar and he kills her with it. Amazing. I love this. Jason killing someone with a cunty pink guitar. Great.
Yes.
You don't see much, but great.
Are you triggered by the fact that we get feedback despite it not being plugged in?
Yes.
When she's killed. Yeah?
Yes, of
course. Does that annoy you?
Of course. But at least, I think she's actually playing.
Okay.
So that's a nice change to what we usually get. She's gone way too soon. I'd love to have seen more of her.
She has gone way too soon. And that wig is something.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it.
Yeah, she couldn't keep on her head for too long. That's why she was only in 2 scenes. Rennie has the first of her visions. And also by this point, I wonder how many Where's Rennie we've had. Like, I only this time I've noticed the amount of times people in the film are like, where's Rennie? Where's Rennie? Where's Rennie? What's Rennie doing? Where's Rennie? Fucking stop asking me, just go and find her. She has the first of her visions of a young Jason with a full head of hair, even though he is bald when we see him in the original, and has never had really any hint of having any hair at all.
No.
Toby runs off scared because apparently he also had the vision.
Yeah. Dogs have a sixth sense about these things.
Do you know the worst part? That was Rob Hedden's intention.
Oh.
Like, he's actually said he wanted to portray Jason as a more supernatural entity rather than just a walking corpse. So Rennie's visions were more than just her own hallucinations because her dog was having the fucking visions as well. The dog was having Jason flashbacks.
Is he a big fan of The Hills Have Eyes Part 2? Now, I'm all for dogs being involved in films. I love a dog. As we all know, we love dogs here on the Horror Court Trash Over podcast. But don't be silly. Don't be weird about it.
Yeah. That night, a young boxer loses his match to champion Julia Score, whilst prom queen Tamara Mason and her friend Eva Watanabe watch from the roof. And Tamara says, "Is that a muscular bod or what?" And Eva's like, "He is so good looking."
Thank you.
She's a good girl. Tamara is the embodiment of what the young'uns would say these days is a brat summer. She is she's doing cocaine on the boat. She's trying to get some cock. Tamara she slays every scene. Love her. She's a bad bitch.
She is.
She pushes over the dull lead bitch for a bit of fun.
Oh my god, I love it. Yeah.
Great. We'll get to that obviously, but she's just so cunty.
In the grand tradition of popular girls in American film and TV, she only dates older guys. She does say Julius is the only senior I would even consider doing it with. She's giving Amy Adams in Cruel Intentions 2.
Yeah.
She's absolutely giving the bitchy one from the last film. Mm-hmm. It's a cliche, but it's a cliche I enjoy.
Yeah.
At least she's got a bit of something about her.
And like the last film, she's the best fucking character.
So, yeah. Yeah, at least she's got something. Yeah. And some zazazoo.
Zazz.
Some zazz.
Renee, she's searching for Toby. And she discovers Tamara and Eva, and they're bumping that. They're doing cocaine. 365 party girls. Doing a little key, doing a little line.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah. And she's like, "Who the fuck are you? I'm a brat when I'm bumping that." And then McCullen nearly catches them bumping that moments later. The loser boxer, in the meantime, is killed when Jason shoves hot rocks into his chest in the ship's sauna. Again, great kill. I love this. That is such a great inventive kill.
It's interesting because, it's...
like Jason touching those hot rocks and not flinching.
Yeah.
It's such a great visual.
Yeah, and then the fact that his stomach sets on fire.
Yeah.
And then in the next shot, the hole is in his chest and not his stomach. Also the fact that he was meant to have 2 darts in his eyes.
Yeah.
But the MPAA were not fans of that, which is kind of weird because I feel like this is a bit more violent than that.
Yeah.
So the guy killing him, the guy is not the same actor.
No.
Which is why he has a towel on his face.
Mm-hmm.
And also it's probably not Kane Hodder playing him. But it's a good kill. Poor Kane Hodder.
Do you think it's not Kane Hodder playing him?
If it's a reshoot,
it's probably Kane Hodder, and he was always available for them.
Do you think?
Like he went to fucking space for them. Like, I mean, not literally, but...
Yeah, but this is a random reshoot of one
Kane
scene.
Hodder would have done it.
Are you sure?
Because he's a stuntman as well. Yeah, Kane Hodder would absolutely...
It's not stunty work.
I fully believe... Yeah, but even for reshoots, I fully believe Kane Hodder is in every second of his Jason screen time. He loved working on this film. Tamara then, in an iconic move, pushes Rennie overboard. Yes. We're all waiting for it. Because she thinks that she told on them for doing cocaine. And then she's like, "Whoops! Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to."
I mean,
it's just so casual the way she does it.
So casual, but like, is she really bad? Like, she could have died. Like, seriously.
Well, instead, it leads to her having another Jason vision where he grabs her by the throat when she's walking away. Tamara then draws some organs on her organs, all over her body, and then uses Wayne to record McCulloch in a compromising situation with her, but rejects Wayne's advances afterwards.
Yeah, so she's late on her biology final, which makes no sense because they're celebrating their graduation.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so her biology final is that she, and I think quite accurately, draws the body parts on her body parts.
Yes. Very good drawings.
Yeah, it's not too. I mean, considering I'm assuming she got someone else to do it.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. But McCulloch is kind of tempted.
Yeah,
because
talks like he's in a porno.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what are you doing? No, what are you doing? No, I'm a virgin. Oh.
But yeah, he's caught in a compromising position. So, this seems like a lot of effort when she could have just done.
She could have just
done the report. Apparently, it's only one report that needed to be done.
I love that she's got a bottle of champagne with her, and he's like, "Where did you get that young lady?" She's like, "Well, I brought it on with me."
But I'm also confused. Like the geeky guy, he's got fit glasses, so he must be the geeky guy, Wayne. Why didn't he's clearly in love with her?
Yeah,
he kind of gets himself into trouble for this. Mm-hmm. Why didn't she just say, "Can you just do my science work and I can hand it to him? It's fine." It seems like a lot of effort to go to.
That's true. Well, she's not around for much longer, unfortunately, because this film hates fun.
Yeah.
Jason kills her with a shard of the broken mirror after she showers.
So get a bit of nudity, don't you?
Get a bit of nudity. She initially, Charlene Martin, expressed discomfort at being filmed nude for it. But to put her at ease, director Rob Hedden did the famous thing from theatre and film lore, and he stripped down fully nude and walked into the shower himself to illustrate how easy it all was. He's not the one on screen, but unfortunately, he didn't realize the camera was rolling the whole time. So when the producers watched the dailies the next morning, they were very, very confused as to why the director was standing completely nude in a shower talking to the actress.
Right.
Martin said the director's act helped her lose her inhibitions and film her shower and death scene fully nude. But the funny thing is, the only people who saw her naked were Kane Hodder and the crew. The funny thing is, you actually don't see anything in the film.
No.
Which I'm sure the director was probably not very happy with. But
it's very weird. I'm going to make you feel more comfortable by getting my cock out.
Yeah.
It's
weird
really
thing.
creepy.
Taylor's all the time, but really
and
weird.
At the end of the day, there's a difference between something that wasn't meant to be filmed and something that is on film. You know, we're at this point now where there's VHS players and everything. So she's like, this is it now. Once it's out there, it's the same with the internet now. You can't take it back. That's very daunting. I'm sure, you know, she looks back now and says, "Oh, I you know, gorgeous woman." Like, "Oh, I looked so beautiful. I'm pleased to have this." And that's what she said, you know, and she's sort of okay with it now and fine with it. But at the time, it's very daunting.
Yeah.
And there's a difference. It's not like, you know, he's not on the VHS.
No.
He's not on these websites that, you know, is it Mr. Skin or something, is that?
I have no idea.
No. These websites dedicated to, you know, actresses that got naked in films, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean...
How do you not know?
I genuinely have no idea. I'm a good Christian boy. But yeah, I mean, she said it helped her, so I don't know.
Yeah, okay. If that's what she says, it just to me it sounds really creepy.
Yeah.
Now we have intimacy
coordinators
and such,
definitely.
so much better.
Jason kills Captain Robertson and his first mate, Jim Carson. Oh.
Jim Carson?
Yeah.
Didn't he have a kid?
He does have a kid, funny enough. Captain Robertson says, "How old's your boy now, Carson?" He's like, 19 months. He's like, tremendous age. Take some advice. Don't push him too hard. Can we get Captain Robertson's ranking of ages, please?
Yeah. Can I say, do you know what genuinely really annoys me?
What?
When people refer to the age of their children in months and not years.
Yeah. So
just
wanky.
Say 1.
Yeah. Yeah. So wanky.
How old is he? 1.
Yeah. And you can actually get birthday cards. Happy 19-month. Fuck off.
Oh, I hope not.
You can.
Oh, fuck.
You actually can. And I've seen so many people like, we're celebrating our child 6 months, but fuck off.
Ow.
You already post enough about your child anyway. Anyway, Rennie and Sean discover the bodies and tell the others before calling for an emergency. The deckhand gives us Crazy Ralph's speech, and McCulloch thinks he's responsible for the deaths.
Which would make sense.
Whilst the students go out looking for Jason, and Julian goes, "School is out, McCulloch, okay?" Funny enough, near enough same dialogue that's in Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5 that same year. We get another Where's Rennie? And this time she's dropping anchor.
Oh no, she's having a shit.
No, she's literally dropping the anchor.
I was going to say, I mean, I'm not being funny. I'm surprised in more films the stress gets to you.
Well, apparently
it affects
not.
your stomach.
Apparently not. People don't even go for pisses in these films.
No. Ginny did.
Yeah, true. Eva, she finds Tamara's body and flees.
Tamara.
Yeah. Jason chases her into the disco room in what is a really fucking cool scene that deserves being in a much better film. He's starting this teleporting bit again, that we've seen him do in the last one and I think the one before. He's teleporting side to side in the disco, cornering her. A really 80s song is playing, and then he strangles her to death on the dance floor. And this was actually a leftover scene from the original script, and this would have taken place in a New York nightclub.
Ah, that would have been cool.
That would have been amazing.
My problem with this is
anticlimactic. She only gets strangled
to a certain degree, but I think it's pretty cool when she hits the floor as well. I think it works. You know, not all kills have to be really bloody and gory. You can have kills like this. It's the dumb teen. You know, number one, why are all the doors locked? Yeah, like why are they? There's so many doors in there. And number two, she kind of tries to, you know, leave the doors and then stands in the middle and kind of waits for him. Yeah. It's just really awkward. It is. It's, like, slow.
It is. I mean, thankfully it makes for a good visual.
The visuals are really cool, but, you know, it doesn't make up for a dull moment.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she gets a more exciting death than the deckhand because he's found with a fire axe in the back.
Oh, no.
Jason tosses student Miles Wolfe into the radio transmitter tower to his death, and Julius is knocked overboard. In the hold of the ship, Wayne comes upon JJ's body and is thrown into an electrical box by Jason. Wayne's corpse catches fire and causes the ship to take on water.
They're sinking,
and the other students that were left in the disco room seemingly just disappeared.
Yeah, well, the English teacher, she sort of says, "You wait here. I'm going to go somewhere a little safer." And then, what is it, Sean? And she says, "Oh, what about the 4 random students that I left in the disco?" Oh, no, was it whatever it is, cafeteria, whatever it's called. And he's like, "There is no cafeteria." What is it?
Yeah, the cafeteria.
Yeah,
sure it is.
Yeah.
McCulloch, Colleen, Rennie, and Sean escape aboard a life raft with Toby. They discover Toby's still alive and Julius is still alive. They row towards New York City.
They don't know they're rowing towards New York City. They're just rowing in general.
And I know what you're thinking. An hour and 13 minutes into this podcast episode, and we've only just mentioned New York City again, as in a location that's coming into the film. And they spot it. Julius gives us a rendition of New York, New York. He does.
He does. I'm laughing because we recently had a rendition of New York, New York live, didn't we?
We did, yes.
From, if anyone knows British soap operas,
Barbara Knox,
Rita Sullivan from Coronation Street. At 91 years of age, we saw her live singing New York, New York.
She tried to, bless her.
She succeeded.
She kept forgetting the words. She did keep forgetting the words.
But then we also this year watched the film New York, New York.
And sadly, we did. Yes, the Barbara Knox event was way better. Jason follows them into New York and stalks them through the streets after spotting a hockey advertisement on a billboard.
So does he swim all the way?
He does swim all the way.
But if he died by water and Freddy died by fire, how can they use that?
Wow. In this film, funny enough, they do use that somehow.
They do, actually.
Yes, this is an hour and 5 minutes into the film.
Mm-hmm.
An hour and 5 minutes into this already ridiculously long film. It's an hour and 40. So we only get 35 minutes in Vancouver and New York. Rennie is in a bizarre series of events, Rennie is, as soon as they step foot in New York, Rennie is kidnapped by a pair of stereotypical 80s New York drug addicts, and the group splits up to find help. Toby runs away after one of the drug addicts tries shooting him.
Like, literally the moment they get to New York.
Yeah.
Like, New York is the worst place on the whole planet.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because at times Jason seems to be the better option than just New York.
Yeah. Yeah. Also, I forgot to mention, she has one of her visions on the boat before it sank, and Jason grabs her from a window, and she uses a Stephen fucking King pen.
Oh, yeah,
she uses the Stephen
that
King
really
pen to poke him in the eye.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we don't see the Stephen King pen ever again.
No, unfortunately not.
But back in the dark and dirty and gritty streets of New York, the drug addicts, they literally drug her. Mm-hmm. They drug her with the intentions of sexually assaulting her.
Yeah.
Jason literally comes to her rescue.
Uh-huh.
He kills one with a needle that goes through the back and through the chest, and then smashes another one's head into a pipe. Oh my god. Jason is a hero.
Yeah.
He literally saved the day.
Yeah, it's like that scene in, is it Spider-Man 2?
Yeah.
The Spider-Man literally saved...
No, the first Spider-Man,
the first one, MJ.
Yeah.
And then they have a kiss. Jason and Rennie don't have a kiss. But he saves her life.
Yeah, light-hearted sexual threat.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's at times Jason is less scary than New York.
Uh-huh.
The scariest part of Jason Takes Manhattan is not Jason, it's Manhattan.
Yeah. Yeah. Julius fights Jason on a rooftop, but becomes exhausted after Jason does not go down after a series of punches. And then he turns to him and says, "Take your best shot, you motherfucker." And he gets decapitated by a single fucking punch from Jason, taken straight from Killer Clowns from outer space, yes, but also amazing. The best scene in the film.
It is the best. It's the best kill in the film. One of the best kills in the whole franchise. It's the most memorable part of the whole film, in my opinion.
Julius was a holdover from the original script. And Rob Hayden originally envisioned this scene taking place in Madison Square Garden, where Julius and Jason would engage in a boxing match before Jason eventually punches his head off. And actor Vincent Craig Dupree was actually really punching Kane Hodder because he was a big, tough guy wearing plenty of padding. So to make it look real, Hodder just told him to go all out and actually punch him.
So my issue with this scene is that it goes on maybe a little too long, is the fact that hockey masks are made to protect hockey goalies from very, very fast pucks. Yeah, so they don't smash their faces. As a seasoned boxer, why would he ever punch the mask? Like, why is he doing that?
Okay, I don't defend the film often, but I will defend this scene.
Punch him in the dick.
Okay. He ends this scene by punching the guy's fucking head off.
Yeah.
It's okay. This scene we can suspend disbelief. And I like how long it goes on because it adds to the punchline. It kind of
it's like the
he puts so much effort into it, and then just one fucking punch. It's really funny. Like, it is the best part of the film. The only bit of credit I'll give it, other than the disco scene, and the good ideas here. There are good ideas in this film. This is the frustrating thing.
I feel like the writer director was trying to make maybe Escape from New York.
Yeah.
Like, to have a fight like this in Madison Square Garden and to have the vision of New York to be so dystopian. It's kind of like Snake Plissken and Escape from New York.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what he was going for.
Well, Rennie runs into Sean and they reunite with the teachers and the NYPD. The cop says, after they tell him what's happened, it's like, "You're right, I find it a tall tale indeed, but you seem like honest folks, so I'm inclined to believe what you're saying." Police doing a great job in New York.
That's what I say.
I mean, McCullough's still going around, and he's been doing this for a while, and like, "Oh, shut up, Jason Voorhees isn't real. What are you talking about?" You literally came face to face with him. He literally destroyed the boat. Yeah, he's just so horrible to everyone all the time. But the actor does a great job of making this believable.
Again, he's more of he's scarier than Jason.
Yeah. They find Julius's head in the cop car.
Oh no!
And Jason kills the officer off screen. And then Rennie crashes the police car after seeing a really awkwardly edited vision of Jason. Child Jason, now with no hair again. He's standing in the middle of the road, and every time I watch it, it always takes me by surprise, and I think the film's lagging.
Yeah,
but it's
so
not.
bad.
It's just really bad editing.
We all make choices, but the editing in this is a choice.
Yeah,
really, and I'm sure they thought it was the most artistic, coolest thing. Like, oh my god, watch this guy! And it's like dun 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 dun. I'm like, oh, stupid.
Poor Colleen is incinerated in the car when it explodes, and it's revealed through a flashback that Rennie sees through a puddle, despite the fact she's been surrounded by water this entire fucking film, that McCullough is responsible for Rennie's fear of water. One day, seemingly in 1957, he's wearing a Pamela Voorhees jumper,
and it's dyed his hair.
Dyed his hair, yeah.
To make him look younger.
The real sign of a villain in this franchise, one of those jumpers.
Yes.
And he's telling her she needs to learn how to swim. And to help her learn how to swim, he tells her Jason Voorhees is going to kill her and push her into a lake.
Yeah. And again, scarier than Jason. Jason's actually saved her life.
Yeah.
More than he's threatened her life. Yet her uncle's the one that tried to drown her.
Yeah. But she's such a wet blanket to the point she doesn't even slap him.
No.
Instead, Sean pushes him over and they leave him behind, and Jason drowns him in a barrel of toxic waste. He deserved a much better death than this. Like, they could have at least brought him back as a Toxic Avenger. Like,
because New York obviously
has toxic waste just on the street.
Waste just in the street. Just toxic waste just lying around in New York.
We find out later on there's more toxic waste in New York. This
is almost a trauma film.
Yeah.
Actually, this is almost a trauma film.
But a trauma would have the decency to make it
funny.
Yeah, more
entertaining.
Exciting. Rennie tells Sean about how she was told in school about her mum dying and how she always loses everyone in her life. So it's like, oh, hubba. And they have a kiss.
Do you know what really gets me going? Trauma.
Jason's like, fuck PDA, you boring bastards, and interrupts them. He chases them into the subway and onto a train where they all walk past a Tommy Wiseau lookalike, and I mean, he is identical to Tommy Wiseau. Sean waits for Jason to leave the train, and he seemingly kills him by pushing him onto the third rail, electrocuting him, the same way that brought him back to life in the film. So, obviously, Jason revives, gets an iconic scene where he actually stands in the real Times Square, the actual one. He then scares some punks with a boombox by showing them his face.
Yeah.
He chases Sean and Rennie through Times Square to a diner where he kills the stuntman who would later take the role in Freddy vs. Jason.
Oh, yeah, that Kane Hodder was so upset about as well.
Ken Kersinger.
Wow.
Rennie's like, there's a maniac trying to kill us. And the waitress is like, welcome to New York.
Which I like. I think that's funny.
Yeah.
That's funny. And then she starts singing, Welcome to New York. I don't know.
Taylor Swift song.
I'm not shit. I thought I'm not a Swiftie, guys. I'm sorry. I like her, but I don't know the lyrics.
Yeah.
I thought I did actually, but not off the cuff.
He then chases them into the sewers where they encounter a worker. Kane Hodder says that one of the most fun parts of this film for him was the scenes in Times Square, and his favourite scenes as Jason as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
He says the spectators were lined up and down the block watching the filming, and he didn't want to take off the mask to destroy their illusion of Jason. So every now and then he'd turn his head and look at them and watch them all go crazy.
Nice. I mean, that's really cool.
Yes.
These, and I think maybe in the 80s, maybe more than now, horror films were capable of becoming part of the cultural zeitgeist in a fun way.
Yeah.
Now we have it now in horror films and like Blumhouse and A24 to a certain degree. You know, horror is fantastic, and there are some absolutely amazing films, but a lot of them don't feel as fun as they were in the 80s. Unless we start getting, Art the Clown from Terrifier?
I'd say Art the Clown's
on
probably
Loose
the closest.
Women.
Yeah, I'd say he's the closest.
Yeah.
A slasher icon now, someone that people know who he is, and obviously we have Megan as well, who I'd say is at that point, and all the stuff from The Conjuring. But I would say we're getting back to that point of the 80s. When you look at something like Alien Romulus from this year, a film that looks like it was made in the 80s, and we've had a big uptake in practical effects. I'd say we have a fair few fun. Look at Evil Dead Rise, Scream 6.
The films can be fun, but I'm talking about the around the film.
But also
the cultural zeitgeist around it.
Yeah. So again, let me take you back to Alien Romulus, where they were having people in New York, funny enough, with facehuggers on them to promote the film.
Yeah.
And then you think of the popcorn buckets, and then Beetlejuice being all that merchandise. I think we're slowly getting back to that point. I think the Dune 2 popcorn bucket woke up marketing teams, and they were like, shit, we could do something really fucking cool with all these films.
Yeah.
I never thought I'd have an Alien popcorn bucket in our kitchen. And the fact they've made an Art the Clown one as well, with the Santa hat on, it's really fucking cool. Stuff like this is great. I want to see more stuff like that. Consumerism, yes, but also I love seeing films on random shit.
Yeah.
You think of Deadpool and Wolverine on bottles of water, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, if you think Funkos.
Yes.
Like, how many Funkos do we have? Because we don't collect Funkos.
Mm-hmm.
We collect Funkos of specific things that we love.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of the same thing, really.
Yeah, absolutely. The worker in the sewers warns them that it will be flooded with toxic waste at midnight because, yes, everyone, the New York sewers flood with toxic waste at midnight.
Because New York is a hellhole. New York is the worst place on the planet.
This film really wants you to believe that. It really does.
It genuinely does.
Well, Jason appears and kills the worker in the shadows before knocking Sean unconscious. Rennie throws a vat of toxic waste onto Jason's mask, leading the mask to pop off and reveal his laughable face.
It's awful.
Which instantly starts to melt, and he starts making fucking dinosaur noises.
Yeah. I could do a better job.
Genuinely, this looked like a 5-minute job.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I cannot believe how cheap this looked. He always looks so good in every film, but in this one, oh my god, it's like a mask underneath a mask. A really cheap one.
It looks really, really bad. The man behind the mask ain't worth shit.
No. Rennie and Sean climb a ladder.
Reference to part
As Jason staggers after them, the sewers flood, and Jason is reminded of his childhood drowning, which makes him vomit water.
Mm-hmm.
Kane Hodder did this on cue, by the way.
Oh, no.
After drinking several pitchers of water. It's not a special effect. This is actually him throwing up water.
Oh. That's horrible.
Yeah. But I don't think he had it in his mouth and he was spitting it out.
Oh, he wasn't making himself throw up.
Actually, he was throwing up.
No. I mean, it's not like bits of sweet corn or anything.
No.
His lunch wasn't part of it, so maybe it was just water in the mouth.
Originally, this scene we were going to see child Jason in Jason's mouth.
Yes, and if anyone's seen the clips or stills from that, you recognize how ridiculous that is.
At this point, Jason's now shouting "mummy" and in a child voice for some reason. The wastewater overcomes him, washing his body away. And when the water recedes, Rennie once again sees her vision of Jason as an unconscious child for the final time, with a full head of hair again for some reason, finally conquering her long-time fear.
If that toxic waste is able to kill Jason or revert him back to a child, I don't know. Whatever it's done, it's some strong fucking stuff.
Yeah.
Why they're in such close proximity to it, it doesn't affect them at all.
Not at all. The original scripted ending actually featured Jason being completely melted by the toxic waste,
which would have been
and
really
his
cool.
soul finally being released. The studio changed that to him turning back into a child so that if there was a chance of a sequel, they didn't write themselves into a corner. Now, parts of the internet say that Rennie sees him as a child to overcome her fear. I think they genuinely intended for him to be turned back into a child. I feel this film is that dumb, that stupid, that was the intention. And, producers saying they did it so they didn't write themselves into a corner and Jason could come back kind of proves my point. Which is fucking so stupid. So stupid.
But then, so if he is reverted back to a child, so you just have Jason in the New York sewer hiding, and then what comes back in the next film? Or does he have some weird teen who's been ostracized from society bring him people to kill and stuff to eat? Or is
well,
that'd be a silly film, wouldn't it?
Still not as silly as this.
No, not even close.
Sean and Rennie return to the street, reuniting with Toby in Times Square.
Oh my god!
The darkest side of the night plays over the end credits, and that is Jason Takes Manhattan.
I can't believe that dog survived in the worst city in the world. Yeah. I'm surprised that dog was not cooked by some drug addicts and eaten. He survived. That's a final boy. Yeah.
The final good boy.
Final good boy.
And that's Jason Takes Manhattan.
That's Jason Takes Manhattan. Really, and we've had a bit of fun discussing it, but genuinely, because it would make a really shit episode, so dull. So many moments of this film are incredibly dull. So many moments of this film are incredibly stupid. I hate this film. I hate watching this film. I quite enjoyed discussing it, and with a crowd, yes, it's tolerable. But I remember the first time I watched it, I was by myself, and I thought, this is fucking dog shit. And I still think that to this day. Yes. Really, really bad. Hate it.
Yeah, it's not very good. Should we get some awards?
Yes.
Biggest queen, it's got to be Tamara.
Absolutely, completely agree.
Biggest gasp?
Is Tamara home?
Biggest gasp? The drug addicts kidnapping, drugging, and attempting to sexually assault Rennie is mine.
That's true. I remember Julius losing his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, it shocked me.
Best dialogue for me, it's Stephen King supposedly used this in high school.
I went with, there's a maniac trying to kill us. Welcome to New York.
I forget that he supposedly used it in high school. Who gives a shit back then? We want the pen that Stephen King was doing cocaine with when he was writing Cujo.
Yeah. Why
was it in such good nick if it was when he was in high school?
Wasn't Rennie in high school with him?
Well, yeah, she should have been. That's camp. I've got Jason killing a Joan Jett ripoff of a cunty pink guitar while she's filming a music video on a boat.
Nice. I went with Rennie being pushed overboard.
That is camp. Ratings, I give it 2 pens allegedly used by Stephen King in his high school days out of 10.
I gave it 1 wet perm out of 10.
Masterpiece, trash, basic, or a camp or bunch of fun?
Trash, basic, trash.
I've got 2 answers.
Oh.
Trash, if I'm watching it on my own. Trash the piece if I'm watching it with company.
Yes. Okay, you can have some fun with it. I feel maybe a little harsh with my 1. Maybe I should give it 2 wet perms.
You give whatever you want.
Because the soundtrack slaps.
I've never known you to passionately hate something as much as this film.
I do really fucking hate
stick with your 1.
But I like the poster. So I kind of want... There has been a lot of people in my life who have had the T-shirts with this poster on. And I like the poster, but I cannot bring myself to wear a T-shirt because I hate the film so
it's okay.
bloody much.
No one's asking you to. You do you, hun.
But, you know,
you said
it might be my colour.
You said.
Manhattan matches my eyes. Toxic.
When we go to New York, we'll get matching Jason Takes Manhattan T-shirts. Available on Blu-rays, part of the box set, DVD, video on demand, and Paramount Plus, where it goes up from 1 to 8. And if you enjoyed this, check out Scream 6, the slasher film in New York that did it right.
Yes, if you enjoyed this, check out Maniac Cop, the New York slasher film that did it right.
We are Horror Cult Trash over on Facebook, Instagram, and no longer TikTok. No longer TikTok. Someone reported us and we're banned. Ooh. So thanks for that, whoever that was. But give us a follow on...
camp for TikTok.
Apparently so, homophobes. Instagram and Twitter. Do Horror Cult Trash on Twitter. And I'm dead at Gaz92 on Letterboxd, Gazmo205 on Instagram, and GazCruise92 on Twitter.
I'm Chris Barker823 on Instagram and Letterboxd.
And we may be taking time off from the podcast, but we're still working hard on Gasp. So we are Gasp Horror Fest across all social media. Go and check that out, see what it's about. I've just realised I'm going to say all of this again in the next episode. But still, here's a reminder. Give us a rate, review, subscribe, like on everything else. Jason Goes to Hell is also released today. And if you're listening to this at midnight, thanks. Also, we'll be back in 12 hours. We'll be back. Same place, not the same time, in 12 hours.
Yes. So, goodbye for now.